I trailered the Jeep down to Elvington this year, as it was easier, cheaper and quicker than driving. I took Jessie again, but in the RAF Ordnance Depot markings. I didn't have any display, other than a few crates. Last year, my photographic display was quite tiring, having to be packed away every time I went for a wander around, as there was nobody else to watch over it. The Yorkshire Air Museum is located amongst many original wartime technical site buildings, which make a great backdrop for this event. The control tower is currently under restoration, with new render and metal-framed windows. The external work is coming along well, but it has been emptied of internal displays due to the building works. The We'll Meet Again show is one of the few occasions where the museum's Halifax bomber is brought outside for display. It carries Free French markings on the starboard side, and RAF on the port, along with the Friday the 13th artwork. After setting up on Friday afternoon, I went for a wander around the outdoor aircraft exhibits. Most of the aircraft are real, but this Hawker Hurricane and Spitfire are fiberglass replicas. The Handley Page Victor, despite being designed in the late 1940s, still looks futuristic, even today. To me, it has a science fiction feel to the design, and my favorite view is directly from the front. Close to the Victor is the Nimrod maritime reconnaissance aircraft. It arrived at the museum in April 2010, and is maintained in a ground operational condition, as is the Victor. There are 3 Blackburn Buccaneer aircraft at the museum, with 2 displayed outdoors during this visit. There are also 2 jet trainer aircraft outside, the first being the Jet Provost, and the second is the Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star. Roughly opposite to the T-33 is the de Havilland Devon, and next to that, one of 2 Gloucester Meteor aircraft that are on display at the museum. Beside that is one of 2 Hawker Hunters, this being a single-seat version, while the other is a 2-seat Hunter T-7. At the end of that row is the English electric Canberra bomber. The type first flew in May 1949. The other large World War II aircraft displayed outdoors was the Douglas C-47 Skytrain, or Dakota to the RAF. For the 80th anniversary of D-Day this year, the C-47 has received invasion stripes. On Saturday, I had a look inside, bringing back memories of my first C-47 flight, back in 1985. As the sun got lower on Friday evening, I took the Jeep over to the Halifax for a few photos. I did it last year with the Ford GPW, and have done it with this Jeep in 2018 and 2019. On those occasions, the Jeep was in its follow me scheme. I took a number of pictures of the starboard side, moving the Jeep a few times for different angles, with the sun setting behind the trees. I then moved the Jeep to the port side, where the lighting was better. Once done, I took the Jeep back to my camp, and waited for dusk. With the sun just an orange glow on the horizon, I came back out with the camera on the tripod for some long exposure pictures. I wanted to catch the Halifax and Dakota in the dusk light, and also with the crescent moon in the background. Because of the position of the setting sun, the Earth is still very illuminated when viewed from the moon. This bright glow of the Earth is enough to illuminate the shadowed part of the moon, when looking from the Earth. It is called Earthshine, and it can be seen in this picture, where the camera has caught the bright crescent moon, and the area in shadow, which is normally not visible. Several stars were also visible in the twilight sky. I finished taking pictures at around 10:15 p.m., and went to bed. It had been a long day, from loading the Jeep and car in the morning, to then unloading and setting up the camp. Unfortunately, within about half an hour of me going to bed, the country had the Great Northern Lights display, and I missed it. It would have made some great pictures with the aircraft in the foreground. On Saturday morning, I went for a look around the displays. There were a good selection of vehicles on show, mostly with British, RAF or Commonwealth Forces markings. There were still a few US marked vehicles on show too. All the military vehicles shown up to now are privately owned, with this Royal Navy bomb disposal display being one of the more unusual vehicles. The Aircraft Museum had some of its vehicles out on show too, including the NAFI T-truck, the Austin utility vehicle, three-wheel refueler and fire truck. After taking a look at the military vehicles on show, I went for a look around the hangars, as they had been locked up by the time I finished setting up on Friday afternoon. The aircraft on show ranged from the earliest days of aviation through World War I and II and into the Cold War, with the likes of the Jaguar, Harrier, Buccaneer, and the Victor and Nimrod, which you have already seen. This year, there was also a large selection of vintage cars, which can be seen in these photos, taken both on Saturday and Sunday. There were also a couple of vintage caravans, set up beside the signal square, near the control tower. The weather was unusually hot, and after what seemed like months of gales and rain, I was struggling with the heat. I spent much of Saturday, inside the museum buildings, or sitting in front of my tent, reading a book about Bomber Command, in the shade. I did go for another wander around the displays, this time looking at the various dioramas. On Sunday afternoon, there was an organized photoshoot with the Halifax, along with RAF Air and Ground Crew. I only had my short lens on the camera, so didn't get any close-up pictures of the crew. There are two memorial gardens at Elvington. This is the first, and smallest, squeezed between two of the wartime buildings. The second memorial garden is one I hadn't seen before, tucked away, surrounded by hedges. A propeller is mounted near the memorial wall, which bears plaques to various different Air Force units.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.